Okay, so this is the BajaRack Ladder for a BajaRack standard that I'm going to be installing today on my 4Runner. So this is the unboxing of the ladder. So let's see what we got in here. So there's the ladder itself, and surprisingly, no additional components in the box. Let's get this open. Let's see what it's all about. All right. So there it is, removed from its packaging. Next step is to undo this bad boy and then see what kind of parts and instructions we have. So we'll check that out here in just a minute. All right, let's see what we got here. So we'll go ahead and cut this off of here. Open this up a little bit. Let's take a look at what we got. Got a packet of bolts, not near as many as I had on the BajaRack itself, which is good. And then we got your directions on installing it. So we got this bad boy. Be interesting. So 9/16 wrench for installation, ratchet tool for support, 5/32 Allen wrench. It's a little different than the rack, which is fine. Just gotta go grab those tools. So we'll grab some tools and then we'll get started again. Okay, so one of the things that it suggested that you do is take the ladder and point it vertically and then lay it down into a groove that you see here. And when you fold it over, this part actually bends in. It's actually a soft metal, it looks like, and it kind of bends around it. So I went ahead and did that to save the embarrassment in case I fell off the ladder or something. But this is pretty much all I've done so far. It's just gone ahead and got it installed. Now, there is some measurements that need to be taken once you've done this. Apparently it needs to be 2 3/8 inches away from the driver's side and 2 inches. So let's see here. Let's get back to the bottom ladder bracket. Should be 2 3/8 inches. Distance between the top edge of the rear door and the driver's side should be 2 inches. So let's find out if that's actually what the case is here. All right, so 2 3/8 inches is how far it needs to be over from here. So obviously I need to move it over to the left quite a bit. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. once you've got this in place, the grip that's on it makes it a little difficult to deal with, but not impossible. Let's see if we did any better with this. So from here to there, it's 2 inches now, so all right, a little bit more to the right. Go. Just a little bit. And once again, a little too far over. So I'm gonna keep working on this and then I'll get back with you guys. Okay, so what we've got now is we've got the ladder set up to where it's evenly spaced properly based on the recommendations in the document. And the way this is gonna work is you've got this mount point here with an aluminum plate that's got some sticky stuff. So what'll end up happening is I'll open up the tailgate and slide this up under it, mount it, just so. Don't actually tighten the Allen wrench screws yet, just leave them as is, but that'll lock it into place, and then you actually tie it down on this with the provided bolts. So we'll be doing it with this. Now obviously you want to put a little bit of grease on them before you tighten them down. As with everything Baja, they want to make sure they don't freeze up the nuts. So let's go ahead and find our grease. Go ahead and take these out so they don't fall out. Take this bad boy, let's frame it up a little bit. I have to apologize for my sniffling. I got some pretty bad allergies going on today. So the idea is it will mount like that. Now, interestingly enough, some of these bolts are actually long enough to reach. And if you'll notice, they are not. And they don't get any closer if you move them over. So we either need to figure out what's going on here, or possibly, knowing my luck, this is probably the case. They gave me one long extra bolt. Even that won't go on. So it looks like we're going to be contacting BajaRack to figure out what is going on. Their instructions aren't very clear. Now, this is designed for a 5th gen 4Runner, so for all intents and purposes this should be working. But as you can see, it doesn't actually reach properly. So let me see if there's any way to finagle this a little bit, and I'll get back with you. Okay, so here's the finished product. And sorry if I didn't actually film the installation of the bolts and everything, but there's quite a bit of swearing, quite a bit of frustration, sweat, and all that stuff. And it's common with BajaRack products. For some reason, they just don't make them very well intuitive as far as the directions are concerned. So let me show you what I got going on here, though. So I got it measured out where it's the right space from the top and the right space from the bottom. And when I went to install the plate, as you guys saw earlier in the last video, the plate didn't quite sit well. It didn't sit properly enough to where the bolts could actually attach. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that you know, the ladder itself has to come off this ridge and actually slide down further into this groove here before it'll attach properly. And in order for that to happen, you got to put quite a bit of weight on it to get it to push down. At least that was my case. The other thing that's kind of annoying is BajaRack shipped these things, even though these are designed for 5th gens, with this stupid aluminum plate that's got a little bit of sticky substance when you peel this piece off. The idea behind that is you're supposed to be able to attach it in here and actually have the Allen screws plug into that and cause it to kind of sit at a weird angle. I don't know if it's a space filler or what, but for the 2016s anyway, there's not a lot of room here. And as you'll see, now I've got a little bit of a gap, which is appropriate because I've tightened this thing down. But when you're trying to get this thing installed, there's not a gap there at all. And it's it has to do with this foam. I don't think the gap is necessary. I think because of the plate is necessary. Specifically because when you tighten this down, this attaches here on this little ridge point. And of course against the door itself. So that plate is really just a space holder, I guess. I mean, I don't quite know what it's for. In any event, once I got this threaded, it required 2 people. It required somebody actually gripping this enough to where the screw would go through. And then once I got it threaded, I was able to get the second one. initially, when you first tighten it down, you'll see that there's a gap about like that between this plate and this one. And what was interesting was when I got all that installed, I climbed up the ladder for the first time, and the whole thing slid down a little bit. It actually attached. And when I did that, this gap became, well, these screws became really loose, and I was able to tighten them down to where they're really gripped really well. So a little bit of a pain point. It does require a couple of people to do this, especially if, you know, unless you've got 6 arms where you can hold the door, grip the plate and the ladder, and then try to screw the thing in all at once. So I've yet to find anything that Baja ships that doesn't require at least 2 people to get it installed. So anyway, so now that that's done, now it's a lot easier to get up on the rack and fuel cans, whatever I want to put up here, which makes things a lot easier. Got my Max Trax mounts, and then I've got my axe and shovel mount on the other side for when I go off-roading out at the ranch. So hopefully this helps you guys if you decide to buy one of these things, knowing what to expect. It definitely wasn't easy, although it didn't take as long as the rack. So if you guys have any questions, just post in the comments. Otherwise, there you go. Thanks.